Okay, hi, my name is Beth Roundtree. I'm a kindergarten teacher, and one of the tactics that I chose to work with were the brain cards. And there are a couple different reasons that I chose to introduce these to my kids, and I chose to use them explicitly with Writer's Workshop. It's a time of the day when I'm with them alone, and my expectations are that they're working independently, and while they're working independently, I'm checking in with one student at a time, doing conferences. So being one teacher with between 16 and 20 kids, my goal is really how can I set the tone to get them working independently. And so with that, I thought that these brain cards would really help them to think about their thinking, to help them gauge when they need help and when they might need a check-in and when they're just kind of going with it. So I introduced the cards almost like they were a stoplight, and I let them lead the discussion. So what's the purpose of a stoplight? And what happens when a car comes to a red light, a yellow light, and a green light? And these were their words. So a car is stuck when it's stopped. When the yellow light turns, the car slows down. And when it's green, the car just keeps going. So I tried to compare that to, so when we're working, that's what our brains kind of do. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you're working and you're just going, you know exactly what you need to do, you have no questions? That's kind of when your brain is in a green light. Have you ever been working and you notice that, I'm a little stuck, my brain is kind of slowing down, I think I know what I need to do, but I might need a check-in. It's kind of like being at a yellow light. And we've all been in places before where our brains are just stuck. We don't know what to do. And we cannot go on until we check in with the teacher. So we talked through that, and so like I said, this was their language, this was their words. It took a lot of really explicit instruction and a lot of modeling, and I actually modeled what it looked like to be working in the green, to be working in the yellow, and to be working in the red. And I did a lot of out loud thinking. So this is kind of what my brain is thinking when I'm in each one of these stages. And it worked really great at first. It took the kids a little, it took away from the writing a little bit as they were getting used to this. But with a couple of revisits, they really started to get it. And then I started to notice some trends. So I noticed that some of the kids automatically just went to the red. And when I checked in with them, it was really more just kind of logistical stuff, like, I don't remember where I left off kind of thing, or they just weren't really organized to get ready for that writing block. And that wasn't really what I wanted the tool to be used for. So I revisited it then, and I kind of made some rules around it and some guidelines. So these are really for when you start working. Your job is really to try to get organized, because that's my expectation. And then I also noticed that some children automatically went to the green. And when I did check in with them, I noticed, okay, they think they're rolling, but actually they're rolling down the wrong path. So those are just some things for me to be mindful of, to make sure that just because I didn't see the green, to just assume that they really were on the right path.
I'm sorry, but it sounds like it gave you an unexpected kind of insight into. It wasn't as simple as, oh, this is a helpful tool, they'll get this right.
Right.
But the very process of them learning about it gave you insight into who they were as learners.
Yes.
Okay.
And along those lines, I also realized that some of the more timid kids who would just kind of keep working even if they needed a check-in, they were much more likely to put out that yellow card or put out that red card rather than announce in front of their friends, I need help, or I'm confused. So this was much more subtle, and I think they just felt more comfortable just putting the card out. So right now, we're at the point where it's a really well-oiled machine. They know what it looks like to be in each one of these stages. And it's pretty amazing to think that 5- and 6-year-olds they're capable of so much more than we ever think, but they have that metacognitive capacity to think about their thinking, like, I'm really stuck here. This is a point where I'm stuck. I need help. But I really do think that it's encouraged them to be problem solvers and to think, okay, so I'm kind of in between the red and the yellow. What can I do to see if I can, not be in the red, to at least be in the yellow. What else can I do to be productive and keep working? Because that's my goal, is for them to at least to try to be working and not just be kind of sitting there and wasting their time. And I made a big deal about that. So I think it's made for really productive kindergarten writers.
It sounds like it might have gone in the beginning the way of them using it as a way to tell you what to do. And it sounds like maybe what you turned it into is this is a way for you to help. Not that you wouldn't attend, but, and that sounds like maybe a pitfall for other teachers to be careful of. It's about them learning to manage what they need to do next, not just come help me, I'm in yellow, or come help me. Not that that's not part of it, but.
Yeah, and I think that it made that whole block of time really efficient for them, but for me as a teacher as well. And that's what we all want when we're teaching, because we're crammed for time, is efficiency. So I could just do a quick scan and step back, and there were some moments where they're all in green. This is great. And then I could check in with them. Obviously, I'm checking in with them all the time. And then sometimes I could just glance, and a lot of them were in the yellow or the red, and that was indicative too of maybe my teaching for that day. What do I need to tweak? So it was really insightful, literally just at a glance, to see how things were going. But you're right, it really was about them guiding me into how we could use these. I would recommend trying it earlier in the year. I waited really more towards the end of the year to implement this, and I would use it more in the beginning of the year to see, because I think that it would be really useful in other areas of the classroom, and so that it could become just part of our classroom culture and part of our routines. It would have been really helpful. But again, I think the biggest learning point for me, and with anything in kindergarten and any grade really, is that it's going to constantly need to be revisited and explicitly taught. And that dialogue, my inner dialogue that I was modeling to the children, was really, really helpful. So really just to make sure that it's modeled, this is what it looks like, this is what it sounds like to me watching you, and this is what it looks like and sounds like to you as a student. That was really helpful, and it just needed to be revisited quite a lot. But that reteaching and revisiting was really helpful to make it automatic and to make it really productive and efficient. I just want to point out that I was really pleasantly surprised again by 5- and 6-year-olds really being able to think about their own thinking. I thought that it was going to be a challenge for me to get that across to them, but they never cease to amaze me with this. This is really abstract stuff, and they lived up to it, and it was helpful for us both. So I think that was it.